Mr. Speaker, I ask permission to deliver an extended statement. Thank you. Last week I had the privilege of traveling to our nation's capital to attend the Assembly of First Nations Special Chiefs Assembly. The theme of the Assembly was acknowledging our challenges, successes, and opportunities. With a theme such as this, I'm sure that everyone in this chamber would agree that we in New Brunswick have much in common with our First Nations communities. Attending various plenary sessions and topics like healthcare, environment, and economic partnerships, I was struck by the wisdom in the room, and I gained a truer appreciation for what we can accomplish if we work together and forge a new relationship built on respect and honesty. In addition to meeting with the chiefs and leaders from New Brunswick, I met a variety of national leaders and had the opportunity to have a private discussion with AFN National Chief Perry Bellegarde. What I delivered to them last week was a simple message, a message that I've already delivered in the House and also what I have promised to the constituents in my riding for the last 3 elections. To be accessible, always, and to be honest and fair in my dealings, to treat them personally as well as their communities and cultures with respect. First Nations communities in New Brunswick have never before had a true relationship with the minister, whose sole responsibility was to work with them for the betterment of our province. Such a relationship is in itself a noteworthy accomplishment. I was heartened to hear Chief Bellegarde speaking at the First Ministers' Conference in Montreal later in the week saying, and I quote, "I held up the New Brunswick Premier because he did create that, and it's the first time ever," referencing our Premier's decision to create a standalone ministry. He went on to say, "That's the example. That sends a good message. It becomes a priority. First Nations relations, First Nations issues. If a provincial government would set up a whole department just to focus on that." He also mentioned that British Columbia and New Brunswick are leading examples in organizing for the way that First Nations people should be working alongside of government. Mr. Speaker, the Premier and this government understand that when we rebuild people, we rebuild communities, and ultimately, we rebuild our province. First Nations communities helped the Europeans who landed at St. Croix and helped the Acadians during the expulsion. First Nations understand and have been an example of what cooperation and respect across cultures look like. Now they are offering their hand once again to help rebuild our province. This government will work with them and anyone else who has the best interests of New Brunswick to better our province and the lives of our citizens. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.